Good morning, everybody. I am on an adventure because I decided to be spontaneous. I am not at home. I drove 6 hours to go see a friend. We'll talk about that in a second. But what I wanted to ask you is what is your threshold for spontaneity? Like, are you one of those who's like, oh my gosh, anything I can do as fast as I can do it, let's rock and roll, let's whatever? Or are you like, it's got to be planned? I got to know where I'm driving, how much money I'm spending on gas, what I'm doing with food, what I'm doing with lodging. Like, that's just, if you're doing a trip. Any kind of spontaneity. How are you? What's your profile? Because on either side of those things can be not so great. And right in the sweet spot of the middle, it can be super fantastic. So we're going to talk about that today. What happens in your nervous system when you're spontaneous, why it can be really great, why it can be super stupid. So stick around. Might not be the most exciting topic I've ever talked about, but it's what's going on today, and that's what this is. Welcome, I'm Ann Ferguson, and this is a walk and talk that I do on weekday mornings. It's so great. I am an author, I am a teacher, I am a certified mentor, public speaker. I'm a mom, I'm a friend. Today I'm a friend. And this place is freaking beautiful. So, let me tell you what happened. This past weekend, I was gonna get together with some girls from what we call the Unstuck group. So when COVID happened, my mom had passed away just like 2 weeks before COVID shut the world down, and I was in a massive grief and I was all alone. So, I was in my backyard staring at a wall, or inside my house staring at walls. And this girl loves people and things, doing things. And so I just felt stuck. I felt so stuck. And I just sent out this little Facebook post that says, hey, I'm stuck. The only thing I can do is get unstuck with maybe my health, Maybe I could eat better. Anybody want to get unstuck with me so we can talk about like exercise plans in our backyard and food and stuff like that? And there are two people that jumped on and said, I'll get unstuck with you. And that started something that I had no idea what it would do. There are 8 of us in this little unstuck group. And every year we try to get together and, kind of do a weekend. Well, this weekend it fell apart. Out of 8 of us, only 2 could come. And Vanessa really, really, really wanted to, but there were some big things that were happening, making it not so great. So Meg and I sat down at breakfast the first day and we went, you know what? What if we just go to California? Do you want to go to California? Let's go surprise Vanessa. Let's go jump in the car. So we finished that breakfast, went home. I packed my stuff. Meg was already packed and we jumped in the car. I have never done a spontaneous girls trip where it's just like, what do you want to do? Let's take off. Okay, I'm going to call this my celebration trip because for the first time, epic, it was big. The first time in my adult life, almost, I'm not driving children around. My cute Jaden bought himself a car. Do you know what that meant? That meant I am not driving anybody around and or responsible to making sure the car is available. Do you know what that did? That totally made it so that I could just be spontaneous and jump in a car. And the spontaneity has been really fantastic. My cousin and I talked about all sorts of things. We listened to a book together. We've decided that this weekend is how easy can we make it? It's all about not doing hard things. So on our way, we were driving and we're like, let's get a little Airbnb. So we got that all kind of worked out. Then we meet Vanessa. And we surprised her because she didn't know we were coming. So we knocked on the door and we're like, hello, we're here because you're having a pity party. You can't be with us. So we're going to just come to you. And then we found out that we got scammed. our Airbnb. And this is where the easy comes in. Because you're like, oh my gosh, see, you can't be spontaneous because then crappy things happen. No, what happened was it was less than 3 hours maybe since we'd made the reservation. So it was still pending on the credit card, so we just canceled it. And then, we had decided how much we were going to split as far as housing goes, so I just found something that worked within that. And then my husband found out. He's like, hey, I got points. How about we do this? So not only are we here, but because of the generosity of my husband and the points, we're not even paying for housing. Man, it's good stuff. And then we woke up and go, what do we want to do? No plans. You know how much fun it is to have absolutely no plans? Like, it is the best to just go, what do we want to do? So, seriously unstuck. Now, there's some of you out there with little teeny tinies. You can't be this spontaneous. It doesn't work, right? I know, you'll get there. Eventually, you'll have the ability. All right, so I thought I was going to talk about spontaneity. But I'm going to be spontaneous and change. So, if you're sucked into this, it's all good. Just know. Woo. We went to the tide pools today, or last couple of days ago. Yesterday, we actually slept for like 3 hours and just chilled out in the hotel. We watched movies. We've done all sorts of things. So, those of you who are just joining me, the reason why I'm all hoodish is because I didn't charge up my audio system. So, I'm just working off my AirPods. It's not as good. And there's wind, so I don't want you guys to get all the windy stuff. That's why I look like this. So, the book that we read or listened to on the way, I highly recommend it for everybody. It's called I Hear You. You're going to hear me talking a lot about this book. I Hear You. That, plus the retreat that I did a couple weeks ago, I've been really thinking about the nervous system and how often it triggers and then it says, abort, abort, things are not good. So I have a question for you guys about that. Are you, do you freak out when there's spontaneity? Do plans change? Are you kind of the plan person? And if plans change, you see all the ways that it's going to go bad. Like every last one of them. And you get all nervous for everybody else who doesn't plan and how they just don't see the possibilities of how everything could bite them in the butt. Are you one of those? Because if you are, bless your ever-loving heart, you keep me safe. Because all that worry and all that stuff, it actually does get through eventually. It keeps me a little safer than normal. I'm a pretty big adventurer. Or are you the fly by the seat of your pants? Jump in the car, just do things. It doesn't matter. You're going to make it all work. And then find out that you're completely depleted of money, of friends, of opportunity. Nobody will go with you anymore because you're kind of not safe. Where's the middle ground? So this is really fun. What I want you to know is that nervous system thingy that happens in you and all the thoughts that run in your head about how it's all going to go wrong, it's a lie. Do you know why? Because it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. Right? So there are things you can go, oh, this would be great, and it hasn't happened yet. There are things that can go, man, this is going to really bad, and it hasn't happened yet. Either way, when you believe it, and it hasn't come true, I mean, you could say you're a liar. I think lying to myself constructively makes life super fun and interesting. I had never waded in tide pools. I had never touched, was it sea urchin? Is that what we touched?
Sea anemone.
Sea anemone. I'd never touched one of those. Or seen hermit crabs all over a bunch of rocks. Like, I sat there and watched the waves splashing up on the rocks, and I almost felt like Little Mermaid, although I didn't do the arch thing. But it was beautiful. This weekend, I would not have seen any of that had I been locked and loaded into predictability. So, predictability may not be your friend. And for those who are way flighty, predictability is your best friend. So there are contraries all over our existence in our world. When we find out how to kiss in the middle of a contrary is where the sweet spot is. So this is the way to talk about this is justice and mercy. Do you want justice, only justice, and nothing but justice, sitting in that polar opposite side? If you don't want that, having no mercy at all, then you probably deal with contrary. On the other side, mercy, nothing but mercy. Everybody gets away with everything because everything's merciful. Do you want to sit right there in life? Really? Because you got people who screwed you over. Would you love absolutely no accountability to them at all? Like they've never, ever, ever have to be accountable for their actions. Okay, so we're sitting in the contrary. So there's this sweet spot in the middle where the two of them can kiss. If your heart is aching to just jump in a car and drive and go somewhere, I'm going to encourage you today to do something unpredictable. You do not have to jump in a car and run and go to California. But what about running and hugging a friend that it wasn't planned? What about that? What about spontaneously saying, screw all of the things I have to do tonight that really actually don't matter. I'm just trying to make myself feel good that I'm like disciplined and sit and watch a movie instead. That's fun. So Meg just said, it's been great to learn the easy thing and allow plans to change. So Meg's my cousin. She's the one that's on this trip with us. And we talked about how we are so married to doing things the hardest way possible. There we go. That it's valiant and it's really important to do the hardest way possible because then you're a good grown up and adult. And, you know, those who can walk the furthest with the most blisters, get the most done with the most exhaustion, are the ones who are the good people of this earth. And while you are, it's time to lighten up. So Meg happens to be one of those. Her dad was an outfitter, like Dude Ranch kind of stuff. And there were just things you do. And you adore those Montana winters. And you struggle because that means you are a tough old cowboy, right? Well, she's trying to do easy because she's chosen jobs that were good, but she's done it hard and struggled with employers that suck, honestly. So she kind of got this idea, because we've been talking about it. You guys have heard me talk about it, breaking up with hard, right? Breaking up with hard. Whoa, that hard is no good. She can't put it in her head here. She hasn't put it in action. So she finally said, I can't do this job. And she left. And within like almost no time, she got another job. But it seemed too easy. Like it can be boring because it's easy. So I'm going to suggest this to you. This is what I suggested to her. And that is to take a minute and get curious. Curiosity kills all judgment. And that means judgment of you. Judgment of the way that you've been taught. Now, awareness and judgment are not the same thing. I can be very aware of things and decide whether to step in or step out. Awareness is not the same as judging. Judging has got an assignment attached to it. Good, bad, right, wrong. I just go, is this what I would love in my space? Is this not what I would love in my space? Not judging the thing right or wrong, just doesn't fit. So, challenging, is this the hardest way possible to do something? And do I want to do something the hardest way possible? The way that's going to exhaust me, the way that's going to deplete me and make it so that I'm not actually present for my kids so that they can love me because they can see my sacrifice for them. Let me tell you, if you are a sacrificer for others, they don't feel love. They don't feel loved by you. What they feel is a burden. And then they won't ask you to do things, turns out. So, doing things the easy way, this is what we did. We go, how is this easy? I don't know. I've got enough money to go. She paid for her flight to Utah. I can do gas. Let's go. We jump in a car. Right? Curiosity is what I asked her to do. So she got curious with the Lord. Hey, Lord, I'm really curious. Step one, is it okay with you for me to do easy? Would that be all right? Because I kind of thought I had to sacrifice for you to tell you and show you how much I can put up with. Right? Okay, curious. Is it okay with you if we play an easy? So then the prayer was, so what does that even look like? What does it even feel like to do easy? Most of us are taught the easy is weak. Okay, so the easiest way. What we found out when we got scammed with Airbnb. Easy thing to do was to call the credit card company. It was still pending and say this was a scam. Done. Easiest thing for me to do is to go, what can we afford tonight? Let's do that and figure out what's next. Done. This is the big point. Do you know why it was easy? It wasn't easy because we had enough money to stay somewhere. It was easy because we chose not to play in how taken advantage we were. You know, when somebody does you wrong, you want to tell everybody that they did you wrong to somehow prove that they should be taking responsibility, and you don't even know that they're who they are, but by dang it, you're going to make sure that the world knows that there are scammers out there so that they are caught. I could have spent the entire evening stinging about bad people that do stupid bad things. Or I could get curious. Hey, Lord, so what's that about? Is there something you need me to know about this? What can we do that's easy? So I had a friend who studied with me. She studied to be a mentor with me. And we were in one class. And we always claim our joy. Like, what is our joy for the day, right? So we claim the joy. What is the joy for the day? And she said, in the summer, she says, my joy was doing family reunion stuff. Man, it was so much fun. My kids all got together. I got together with them. We were barbecuing. It was just so good to have my kids and my grandkids all together. And then she starts laughing. She says, oh my gosh, the cutest thing. My grandkids, they think I am way younger than I am. So she told us about how kind of after lunch, all the kids wanted to play soccer. They bought a soccer ball. They were at a park. And they're like, Grandma, come play soccer with us. And she starts laughing. She goes, oh, guys, Grandma don't play soccer. But I'll sit here and I'll watch you and I'll cheer you. And if you get a goal, I'll give you some quarters. And so she stayed engaged and participated, but she was not even guilty. Grandma don't play soccer. Like she'd earned the right not to run around the fields, right? So later on, as we were talking about this big bully that tells us all the things that we should or shouldn't do, like if you're taking it easy, he tells you you need to do it another way. When you're doing it another way and you're really struggling, he tells you, like, why can't you ever catch a break? Like he pivots, right? So we were talking about that and how you just don't have to do the hardest way possible. And she goes, hold up. Like what? She goes, are you telling me right now that I don't have to play soccer with Satan? Yes, that is exactly what I'm telling you. You do not have to play soccer with Satan. That's going to be a t-shirt. So all of you who follow me, we're going to have a t-shirt that says, I don't play soccer with Satan. Nobody else is going to understand that but you. It's our secret. Okay? We need to make that t-shirt. Okay? So the thing about this is she said, wait a minute. I thought that life is full of trials and I'm supposed to endure the trials. So aren't I supposed to run up and down the soccer field and be exhausted? I'm like, I don't know. Did you want to do that with your kids? Your grandkids? She goes, no. And I go, it's really that easy. Easy. To just say, nope, not playing with you. Not playing with you. So that's what happened, guys. We drove down spontaneously to come and love all over a friend who was having it hard. And we got scammed. We could have spent the whole rest of the night talking about the scam and how these people do it and how everything's bad and the world is unsafe. And can you believe it? This was the stupidest thing we did. We could have played soccer all night. So what I want you to know from this is that hard is in your mind. It's not about what you're doing. So when I woke up in the morning, my husband said, hold on, are you at a hotel? So he's like, oh, well, I've got points if you want to pay for food. Do you want to do it that way? Okay, he is all the way in Virginia. He's learned that spontaneity means kind of a thing. I just want you to consider easy. What is the easiest way you can do what you absolutely need to do today? What's the easiest way? Anytime today, this week, let's do easy week. Anytime that you feel like something might be hard, I want you to pretend that you live in a town called Easy Town. And everything in Easy Town is easy. And it just always works out for you, even when it looks like it doesn't, because it looks like you're scammed. What is the easiest way to do stuff? So you guys have heard me say before that pain is universal. Pain's universal. And suffering is optional. What I mean by that is the hardest way. So yesterday, we were going to do some things. The night before, I ate a whole bag of Oreos all by myself. It's true. It's a vice. And yesterday, I didn't feel good at all. We were going to push. I actually laid down. I lay down and took it easy. There are some things that are self-imposed limitations. So what that means is you've got to evaluate. So we talked about this about her daughter. There is a church youth group that the kids in our faith go to Bible class and Bible study every morning. And you can get a 4-year certificate of graduation for that. And the reason why that matters is because in my church, we go out on missions and serve people. Well, in some foreign countries, the only way you can do that is if you are a certified minister, right? So this 4 years of study makes it possible for you to serve outside the United States. Isn't that cool? There's a fallacy that says you have to do all 4 years in order to get into a church-run college. That is not true. This girl is so intentional. She's like a competitive gymnast who blew out her knee and hasn't been able to do much. She applied to said college and then didn't get in. She's at the very, very last of this senior year stuff with all the qualifications, and in her mind, she has to finish those 4 years, but she's having a really hard time making herself do it. Feels like an expectation. It's hard to get up. She doesn't have a lot of motivation. Now, as a mom, I could say, just do it, you'll find your motivation. Or I could honor the fact that she feels like the rug got taken out from under her and there's no point to anything. Now, some of you will go, well, but if you play into that, then she's going to believe that, and then she's going to be like, a slug for the rest of her life. The reality is opposite. As you listen and say, what's wrong? And are you okay? And is this something you really want? You've gotten 3 years under your belt. Do you want the last little push to get all the work done so that you can graduate from this thing? Is that something that would fulfill you and make you feel like, I did it? Or is it so much pressure and so much everything that it feels like just one more thing that's burying you? Where are you right now, honey? What's the best thing? The self-imposed limitation is that she absolutely must complete those 4 years. It's not true. And giving a choice to somebody who feels buried actually lifts up the stuff that's burying them. And she may just go in and she may just finish it up and it might be really good. It does not mean because she didn't stick to it that she's going to be bleh for the rest of her life. The truth is she's a competitive gymnast who's having a rough time. And that tenacity and that emotional and mental grit that you have to have when you train at the level that she did, when she comes out of this, that is going to be a character trait for the rest of her life. She's going to excel like crazy. And this one, finishing up this 4-year thing, is not going to change that in her, nor actually change her life. So I want you to look around at the things that you do with your kids that you tell them they have to do, and check and see if you're honoring what's actually going on with them. We talked about, do you have any requests of me that would feel very supportive to you right now? If you flip that in on yourself and you find out that the things that you are making yourself do is the hardest way possible because you have some kind of self-imposed expectation or an expectation of society that you feel like you have to complete, it's not actually great for you. You can choose easy, and you're not a failure, and you're not weak, and you're not a disappointment, and you're not actually accountable to anybody on the easy train but you and God. So spontaneity has brought me wonderful things, keeping my mind out of the soccer field and enjoying my life and the blessings of easy that come. Do you know why this is easy? Because I didn't end up paying for housing. I paid $200 for the first night. Like, that's easy, right? If you're open, you got to get curious. This is what you say. Father in heaven, I am now aware that I don't know what doing things easy even looks like. I am aware that I have been taught to do things in the most difficult way to prove that I can. I want to know. Like, I see people that have it easy and I kind of judge them for it. I don't want to judge myself. I just want to play. Can you help me play in the next 4 or 5 days with easy? Like, what does it feel like to just have it easy? Now, my cousin Meg, man, she has been checking out easy every way she finds it. She's like, oh, well, look, easy just showed up there. And that was easy. We just showed it. Everything's been easy. Play in it. Report back. Let me know. I'm going to easily finish this up. This is going to be an easy day. Report in. What's your easy like? That's it, my friends. Have a good day. I'll see you back tomorrow in my normal park. Bye.